Hello and welcome to the Aligned Sacred Alchemy podcast. I'm your host, Rasprit Sagu, and as a woman of color, I understand only too well the unique challenges that we face in our manifesting journey, which are often bypassed in the mainstream teachings. In this space, we're going to be exploring the role of cultural imprinting, ancestral wisdom, societal expectations, and the impact of all of that on our manifestation process. And of course, I'll be sprinkling in the magic that's available when we understand and harness our energy using things like human design and astrology so we can manifest in alignment with our true essence and our purpose here on earth. Gear up for the revolution and get ready to manifest in and on purpose. Hello and welcome to this episode, which is the sequel to part 1, Harnessing the Power of Unseen Allies. So if you haven't yet listened to that podcast episode, I highly recommend you go listen to that, push this on pause for right now, and go have a listen to that one, then come back here. Because in the last episode, I talked to you about the idea of hiring your spirit squad and embracing their guidance to create the life that you truly desire. So go ahead and listen to that one if you haven't already done so, because today we're going to go deeper into how you can use the concepts from part 1 as part of your healing journey so you can let go of the version of yourself that is blocked from having your desires and step into the new version of you that is actually living your dreams, not just fantasizing about them. So just a quick recap from the last episode. You can literally call in a specialized spirit squad that can help you with exactly where you are right now and what you need help with the most right now in this season of your life. And you can think of it like it is here in reality, in this human reality, right? You have people that are specialists in their own fields. For example, you have doctors, but within the umbrella of doctors, you have surgeons. And within surgeons, you have specialists in different things. You have urologists, gynecologists, cardiologists, oncologists, and so on and so forth. They have a specific specialism. They are specialized in their own field of medicine. And it's the same thing with the spirit world. You have specialist guides that can help you with the most nuanced things. So when you're calling in your team, be mindful of that and get really, really, really intentional with what exactly it is that you're asking for help with. And sometimes you don't even have to cognitively really be aware of exactly what that thing is. Quite often when you're in the thick of the challenge or the problem, you don't know exactly what you need the help with. Like you cannot see the trees from the woods. In that moment, everything can be quite confusing and overwhelming, but you can get specific with the actual challenge or the problem that you're having without knowing what help is required, right? So something that I really love to do is getting really creative. You can literally make up a job description for a specialist that you may not think exists, and then trust that the right guide or group of guides will step in and help you. I'll give you an example of this, and I'll give you an example of just how deep this goes and how nuanced it will be. So, for example, I can ask for the support in a troubled relationship that I'm having, for example, right? And somebody else could also be asking for the same kind of support for the same kind of trouble in their relationship that they may be having. But because of our unique experiences, because of our unique cultural backgrounds and everything that shapes us to be us, whether you want to look at it from a point of energy and your energetic signature, your astrology, your human design type, whatever, and your past lives or whatever has made you and shaped you into the person that you are today, that's going to be really specific to you. Like you can see that you may have the same troubles in your relationship as somebody else, but the help and the support that you need is going to be very, very specific to you. And this is where the beauty of getting really creative and literally just making up a job description for a specialist guide can really be useful. So I said before that you may not know what the actual issue it is that you need the help with, but you're going to be quite familiar with the challenge that you're facing, right? So you will be very familiar with whatever obstacle that you keep bumping up against. And that's where you make up that job description. And the most important thing here is your intention and permission. We live in a plane where free will is important. So on this earth plane, in this lifetime, free will is a big thing. For that reason, you must give these guides permission to help you. They cannot override free will. Even if they know exactly what it is that you need, they could be standing there. And there have been many times where I have facilitated clients and I have connected with their guides, and their guides are literally saying, we really want to help. We have everything she needs or he needs to help them. And our hands are tied because we've not been given permission, right? And giving permission doesn't have to be anything fancy. You can literally just call them like you would a dear friend. It doesn't have to be this whole ritual and, light candles and meditate and get into a Zen state. And then you have this long thing that you have to say with those exact words. No, it can literally just be, hey guides, where are you? I need help with this. Hey, who's out there? And you might want to qualify it. This is one of the things I teach my clients is if you are calling in those guides or those beings to come and help you, then a really good thing to do is qualify them. So you want guides of the highest vibration of love, the guides who are ready and willing and can offer me the most loving support right now. And the best thing about this is that you can call upon your guides for literally anything, however big or small you may think it is, right? If there's something that you're trying to manifest and you're having real struggles with, call on your specialized squad. If there's an issue you're having in a relationship that you just can't seem to shake, call on your squad. Hell, if you've lost your keys and you can't for the life of them remember where you put them or you can't find them, call your damn squad. Because not only can they help you with manifesting and the little mundane things in life, like finding your keys or helping you when the electronics are playing up, but they can help with deeper healing. And that's really what I want to talk to you about today, is that much deeper healing, the wounds that are standing in the way of you having the life that you really desire, that you really deserve to have. And maybe you've done a lot of inner work on those things, but it's still not coming into fruition. Those things, those dreams, that vision that you've been having for yourself, it still hasn't come into fruition. And that's because there is some incongruence somewhere within you between the energy that you're radiating versus the frequency of the vision that you are wanting to call into your life. As long as there is that incongruency, it's going to be like you're sending these mixed signals, and that dream or those people or those experiences that you really wish to have are just not going to be able to find their way to you. And I want to illustrate all of this with a really recent example in my own life that I had. And for those of you who are new to my world, you probably won't know that I am obsessed with Disney. Going to Disney World has always been my dream holiday. I love going there. It's just so magical. And we had booked a holiday before the pandemic. And obviously the pandemic happened, and cut a long story short, we had to keep on delaying our holiday, but I really wanted it to happen. Now, the circumstances under which we had to delay our holiday were things that I couldn't do anything about. I couldn't manifest my way out of them in the typical sense, right? I couldn't bend the laws or the rules of travel or anything like that just so that I could have my Disney holiday, but I really wanted it. And so after 3 years of postponing and delaying our travel and our travel plans, with lots of curveballs that life threw in between as well, like when we originally actually planned the holiday, it was just going to be for the three of us, me, my husband, and my daughter. And by the time we actually went to travel, which was over 3 years later, I'd had my son. So we were traveling, the four of us. But before we traveled, before we actually managed to go out there, I got fed up. I was like, this is something that I really want. There is a reason why I am so connected to this desire. I mean, we could have canceled the holiday. It would have just been easier, probably, from a human perspective, just to cancel it, get your money back, or get whatever money that you could get back and salvage back, and then try again some other time. But there was something in it. Now, I'm kind of digressing a little bit, but this is an important point, is when you have a desire like that, where you are so invested in that desire, you are so connected to it, that it sometimes can seem irrational. And to anyone else outside of you, they will be like, that's just ridiculous. Like, get your money back. I had people saying to me all the time, why don't you just get your money back? Get the refund. I know you won't get your whole lot back, but just salvage whatever you can. And then when everything kind of settles down a little bit, then you can always purchase another holiday, book more tickets, and off you go. And it will be so much easier. And the thing is, when you are so connected to a desire, there is more to it than just you living that dream or that desire. Your desires are like little breadcrumb trails. They are leading you onto your path, onto your purpose, onto your own personalized healing journey. There is a reason why you are connected to those desires. So just on a side note, before I go back to what it is that I want to share with you today, if you have anything like that, where you have failed, in air quotes, to manifest that thing, but you are still connected to having that, pay attention to those desires, because those are the things that are leading you to where you need to be. Those are usually the things that lead you towards your life's purpose. Those are the things that are going to be leading you into the healing, the deep healing that you require, that is stopping you from having your other big visions, right? And so I really encourage you to pay attention. Like, just take a moment. You might want to push pause here. What are the things that maybe others have said to you? You need to get your head out of the clouds, come back down to earth, be a little bit more realistic. Why are you still pining over that pipe dream? It obviously hasn't worked out for you. Maybe you just need to look at something else or someone else. Or, when you're on your soulmate search and they say, well, you're being too fussy, you can't have everything. Why are you so connected to having all of these qualities in a person? All of the things that people say to you to try and get you to water down your vision and your dreams and what you actually really want. What are those things? What are those desires? What is that for you? And that's where you can call in your spirit squad, your specialized team. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about this specialized team and how you get to call in a specialized team to help you. So let me share with you the joyful, magical moments I experienced at Disney World when we eventually did go and I actualized that vision that I had. It was an experience that healed my inner child in a way that I could never have cognitively been prepared for or imagined that I would do. And it allowed that inner child to embrace the fun, the freedom, the laughter, and experiences that she never really got during her childhood. It was a huge and very deep and profound healing that changed me as a person, who I am, and how I see myself, how I experience myself, and how I experience the world around me. So it was a very, very profound moment of healing for me. So just to set you up with a little bit of background, growing up, I was the oldest of 3 daughters in a culture that placed immense pressure on having sons. And I felt that weight of responsibility, that burden of responsibility on my shoulders. My family's longing for a son created this unhealthy and toxic dynamic where us girls had to prove that we could do more than any son could just to be good enough. Like, it was always this whole thing growing up of I had to work twice as hard to be half as good as a boy, right? And it was a constant battle to assert our worth and our capabilities. And this was something that was embedded in us for a long, long time. And I have to point out here, this pressure didn't come from our mother, but the pressure was certainly put on her to have a son. And she was vilified for not producing a son. And we witnessed this growing up. So it further consolidated this belief that we just weren't good enough as girls. There was something magical about boys that we clearly didn't have. And so you can imagine as a child growing up feeling that way. And maybe many of you have. Maybe for you, it may not have been because you were a girl, but because you were a second child or whatever that might have been for you. But it was the sense of you're just never going to be good enough. You're never going to measure up, right? So for me and my sisters, like many brown girls that I've spoken to who have no brothers, experienced a childhood of feeling like we were just a letdown, a disappointment, that we were a burden. We weren't special or good enough to be loved and accepted. And in this struggle to be seen and accepted, I experienced wounds of rejection simply for being myself. Like that's what it literally was. We grew up in a culture where we were not allowed to be ourselves. It wasn't good if we were just expressing ourselves as we were. And so that led to this people pleasing. I was compelled to people please, to hide my true power, to hide my true identity, to suppress my own dreams, just to feel loved and like I belonged within that family, that I had a position within that family, that I was in that safety net, and that I was accepted. And so my life was really just a life of all these different masks I would wear, all these different performative things that I would do, conforming to societal norms, leaving my true essence hidden away. I never really allowed myself to express what I wanted. I never really allowed myself to express what I was feeling because, the people-pleasing trait is always that other people's emotions matter a lot more than yours because you don't really matter and they matter more than you do. Therefore, you don't want to upset them because there's also a danger that you're going to be rejected by the people that you really, really wish to have some love and acceptance from. And it was this twisted, horrible experience growing up, which wasn't outwardly abusive. Like when I look back in my childhood, I don't have memories of being outwardly abused or anything like that. But it was this heaviness that you lived with, that you knew was there. There was an elephant in the room. You had to tread on eggshells. You couldn't breathe too loudly. You were always looking at and tuning into other people's emotions. What were they like? What was their behavior? I became very attuned. And this is one of the reasons why I am very empathic and I can pick up on other people's feelings, because as a child, I always had to gauge what everyone else was feeling and when I needed to just get out of the way because I was such a disappointment, because I was such a burden, because they just hated me so much. And as a child, you don't understand why that is. You just think that there must be something wrong with me, right? There's got to be something wrong with me. That's why they hate me. I must have done something, but it's very confusing because you don't know what you've done in order for them to feel this way or make you feel this way about yourself and ignore you or dismiss you, because you look around and they're not doing that to the others. They're not doing that, especially to the boys, right? So these were the inner wounds of a child that I'd had, my childhood wounds that had stayed with me. There were the scars that had stayed with me, and every now and then they would still surface. Even after 20 odd years of working on myself and doing deeper healing, doing the shadow work, doing all of these things would still surface for me. And so here's where the magic truly begins. I'd been trying to heal these wounds ever since I started my journey of transformation, and I'd peeled back many, many layers and even harmonized and discharged a lot of the emotional charge that was attached to them, but there was always something still there. Now, fast forward to 2023, I wasn't really even thinking of working on this deeper stuff, mainly because I felt like I was over it now and I'd already done the work, right? But through this whole ordeal of not being able to get to Disney World, I employed a specialized spirit team to help me with that journey. So literally what I did was I asked that the guides who could help me, travel agent guides, people who could help me with flights, people who could help me with travel legislation, people who could help me with the packing, because for me, one of the things that was coming up, the anxieties that was coming up, was packing for a 1-year-old who was teething at the time. He was a little bit grumpy, and there was problems with formula and milk and stuff at the time, getting anything available out there in the US. And, there was a whole load of stuff going on. And so I called in a specialized team, people who could help me with babysitting, people who could help me with a grumpy, screaming child on the plane, people who could help me with the packing, people who could help me with getting the extra money together to get all our holiday bits before we went, people who could help me with the restaurant bookings for all the places that I wanted to eat at while I was out there, people who could help me in the heat. Like, you know what? When I say you can make it specialized, you can go ham on this. Like, you can make it as specific as you need. So this is what I mean when I said at the beginning that you don't necessarily need to know the exact thing that you need the help with. In all of this, I didn't know what it was that I actually needed the help with. And you're going to see this as I share this story of the help I actually got versus the help that I was asking for. Because I wasn't really asking for the guides for help with deep inner child healing and my core wounds and stuff, right? I was asking for help with all this superficial almost stuff, like help me to get to my dream holiday, help me to have the best time ever, help me with my kids, all of this kind of stuff. And through the guidance of my spirit guides, after I'd called them in, events were orchestrated to help me heal from those old wounds and shed the old identities that I had adopted. They guided me towards experiences and practices that allowed me to reclaim my power, embrace my true identity, and to find the courage to go against societal norms and expectations of my family. And so the universe conspired and led me to Disney World, the place of wonder and enchantment where dreams come alive. And as I stepped foot into that magical realm, which I know was healing for me just in and of itself, because it had been something that I have always been connected to as a child. And I love to go there. I love the energy. I love the vibe. I love everything about being in that place. I could feel the healing energy surrounding me. It was as if the universe had brought me here to give my inner child the experiences that she had missed out on growing up. As a child, I had to grow up really, really quickly. So I missed out on the play and the fun and the lightheartedness that a child deserves to have. And while I was at Disney World, I laughed. I rode thrilling rides. I indulged in the pure delight of being carefree. It was a profound experience of this sense of reclaiming my joy, embracing that freedom that had eluded me for so long in my childhood, and allowing me to experience the innocence and that playfulness that every child deserves. So can you see how interconnected all of these things are? You're calling in your specialized spirit squad to help you with your real life problems that you're facing right now as a human, from a human perspective. You don't necessarily know what the deeper help that you need is, but you let them figure that out, right? You just ask with intention, give them the free will that they require to come in and support you and help you, and they orchestrate everything else for you. They orchestrate not only the experiences that you actually want on face value, but all the deeper stuff that's holding you back, that you didn't even realize was holding you back. And they bring all the support. They bring the love, they bring the support, they bring the other people that can help. They bring you teachers, they bring you guides, they bring you healers, they bring you anything and everything that you need to support you on that journey. Now, just a disclaimer, because I don't want you to be under the illusion that this is like easy, like you just magic all this help and it magically lands in your laps and that's it. You don't need to do anything. No, it doesn't quite work that way. It was hard for me to do everything and jump through all the hoops and do all the inner work that was coming up for me and handle all the relationship stress and the financial stress and, the real life human challenges that you deal with on a day-to-day life. So I don't want you to listen to this and for 1 minute think that you can magic away or manifest yourself out of these situations like magically. Of course, there is a possibility. There is a possibility to do so much. And I do believe in being able to manifest your way out of pretty shitty situations. And even though this is going to sound controversial and maybe even hypocritical to some degree, there are some things that you can't just magically think your way out of or mindset your way out of. There are systems that we live in. There are rules and confinements. There are cultural imprints and ways of being as a culture, as a community, that even if you do all the work that you're doing, you may not be able to really magic away all of the stuff because it involves other people and there's an entire culture that's been built around it. It's going to take some time. It's going to take a lot of people working on themselves individually for it to ripple out and actually take hold at a root level. So when you're doing this work, think of yourself as a trailblazer. Think of yourself as a pioneer. You are starting the movement at grassroots level. It is a new foundation that you are building, not just for yourself, for the people who are going to come after you. It is a legacy that you are creating. You are creating that disruption in the corrupted systems that have been given the power for so many generations. And sometimes it's really nice to be supported in that because it can be hard work. It can be very lonely. It can be depleting even. As you look around the world and you think, why isn't it changing? It's not changing fast enough. And I get that. And you've got to bring it back to yourself and remind yourself of your power. Remind yourself of your dreams. What are your visions? What are the things that you want before it was watered down just to accommodate everyone else's needs, just so that you didn't upset them, just so that you could be accepted and loved and feel like you mattered to others? What is that dream for you? What is that vision that you hold for yourself? And what I invite you to do now is hold on to that vision, feel the energy of it in your body, take a deep breath, breathe in what it would be like for you to live that reality right now. And then think about the support that you need right now so that you could make that vision your living reality. What are the support pieces that you need? Just like with my story, I needed travel agent guides. I needed babysitter guides. I needed packing guides. Like, what are those things? If you think you wanted to get a group of people, you wanted to employ human people with actual job titles to help you with that thing, to support you and give you the support that you need to make the bigger thing happen, what is that for you? And then you just call your spirit squad, your specialized team, and get them to do the heavy lifting for you. Does that mean that you will never have to lift a finger, that they're going to take care of everything and you can just relax and wait for things to happen? Absolutely not. It doesn't mean that. What it does mean is that there are going to be things put in place. There are going to be events that are orchestrated. There are going to be synchronistic and serendipitous, is that the way you say it? Meetings with people that you could not have cognitively ever prepared for. Those things will start to happen. And then it's up to you to follow your intuition and your guidance and take the aligned action. That may require you changing something about yourself, changing habits, looking at some inner work that you need to do. looking at what your unique energetic signature is, understanding what that is, and understanding what supports that energetic signature and your creative flows. It means you might have to educate yourself. It means that you may have to change some habits. Maybe you do need to go down to the gym and work out and get your fitness level and your health back up again. Maybe you do need to take those extra supplements and change your diet so you can nourish your body and have the nutrition it actually needs to actualize the desire that you have been fantasizing about for a long, long time. And one of the best ways to start on that is to learn about yourself, reconnect back to who you were before you watered yourself down, before you went through your people-pleasing phase, before you lost yourself in all the masks and identities and performances for the sake of other people. Reconnect back to what your natural radiance is, who it is that you are at the core of your being, who it is that you naturally are, what it is that actually motivates you and drives you. What is your natural emotional landscape and how can you support that? All of these things are going to be really powerful in helping you to reconnect back to yourself and rekindle that spark of creativity and really step into your power. And you can, of course, call in a specialized spirit squad to help you with all of this stuff. And for those of you who like a little bit more practical help and support alongside the ethereal, magical, spiritual help and support, I've created something just for you. I created a resource material, a cosmic guide to help you decode your energetic essence through your big three, your astrological essence that is going to help support you rock your manifesting game. And it's just for £9. You can dive into that journey where you're going to be able to understand how to align your energy, crush your goals, and radiate confidence. But guess what? The adventure doesn't stop there because you can also upgrade to Energize for more personalized guidance, next level techniques, and that sprinkle of that RAS signature magic where I guide you through video content and a lot more resources for you to understand what your energetic blueprint is. Because my intention is to help you to inject more of you into your manifesting framework, because that's when your ability to actualize your visions actually happens. It's when you inject yourself into that, your essence into that, your unique presence into your manifesting framework. It doesn't actually matter what it is that you're doing, what tools you're using for healing or manifesting or any of it. What matters more than that is the energy with which you are doing it, the presence with which you are doing it. And so when you understand that energy about yourself, it's going to be so much easier to integrate that into your manifesting framework, but not just your manifesting framework. This is how you live life. This is how you show up in relationships. This is how you show up with your money, with your health, with your well-being, with your career, all of the things. And you can go grab Synergize now. Synergize is the £9 basic package, but you can upgrade that for £44 with Energize to get the whole caboodle. And if you want all of this and so many more like little mini trainings for free as part of your membership, come join the Translate community. I house all of these things in the Translate community. So if you're an active member of the Translate community, you're going to get this as part of your membership anyway, this and a whole load more. I will drop the link as usual in the show notes, and I really highly encourage you to go and grab it. Say yes to your dreams today because you deserve all the success, the happiness, and all the good stuff right now. Not sometime in the future when you've got your shit handled, but right now. So, my dear listeners, I hope that my story reminds you that healing is possible even in the face of all the life's pressures, the family expectations, the cultural imprinting. And by aligning and connecting with our spirit guides and embracing their guidance and their support and their love and their deep healing, we can break free from whatever it is that's been holding us back. We can heal those deeper core wounds and we can live the dreams that we keep dreaming about. And my parting message for you today is remember that your dreams are valid and your true essence deserves to shine brightly. Trust in that magical assistance of your guides and of your own intuition, and have the courage to step into your authentic self, to be fully expressed, to be confident in who you are and expressing that. Because only then are you going to be able to experience the joy, the freedom, the fulfillment, and the deep satisfaction and all the pleasures that await you on your unique path. So that's all from me today. I hope to see some of you in Translate or in Synergize or Energize. And until next time, happy creating with your Specialized Spirit Squad. I hope you found inspiration in our conversation. And if you did enjoy the podcast, you'd love my email community, where I share regular doses of magic and tips that honor your culture, connects you with your unique manifesting style, and uncovers those juicy tips that often go unaddressed in the mainstream manifesting narrative. And I have a special gift if you sign up now. My free Creative Blueprint Shadows Guide, where you learn how to identify and alchemize shadows that block your desires and unlock their transformative power. Many have reported they experienced deep healing and overcame blocks to actualize their heartfelt desires with the understanding they found from this guide. The link's in the show notes if this is calling to you. Until next time, happy creating.